Ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome. Thank you for making it on time. Let's get started. My name is Kenyatta Alva. I take care of the retail and e-commerce business at Pesapal. And glad to be here with you. So to break the ice, this event is about harnessing technology in the hospitality and travel industry. So what you're going to learn in the next couple of hours is going to help you accelerate success in the hospitality and travel business. Just feel free, just enjoy yourselves. In case you need anything, you can have a couple of ushers around, just tap on them. All right. We are active on all our social media pages. The hashtag is Adapt and Thrive. You got it. Across Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, anywhere. Okay. I'll just touch on a few key areas. Yeah, we have the demo labs, just as you are coming in, where we shall be showcasing our solutions in the live environment. In the hospitality industry, we have Oracle for both hotels and restaurants. We have an integrated POS system. We have a couple of solutions for the travel industry, including activity booking, payments page, our new invoicing feature, and so much more. So you can spare a minute or two, engage with our expatriates, and they will show you what we have. Okay, then of course, just at the entrance on your left, we have the washrooms. You can ease yourself. Right. Without wasting a lot of your time, I just want to capture one or two expectations from our dear guests. Yeah, I don't know who is ready to give us their thoughts on this event. Okay, so this is how we're going to do it. Your name, where you're from, and your expectations. DJ, with some. All right. We can probably use my mic.
Came from Kampala Hospitality Development Limited, trading as Onomotel, Nakasero. Here is my team. Bazira Derek, then Tara Augustine. At Onomo, I work as a hotel administrator, and way back, Pesapal approached us over being with them as business partners. And as today, we find Pesapal as the best option we would use to transact our transactions. We are here to learn. We are here to see how Pesapal can take us at another level. And I believe whatever shall be preached here is the truth of the gospel that we shall address to other stakeholders. You're most welcome.
Okay, thank you so much. One more moment there. One more volunteer. Just have to pick someone. Okay, expectations. Just do some gender balance.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
My name is Anshet Tumo. I'm the CEO at Tours and Events Management, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. What I can say is Pesapal has been our partner since they started. I can't even remember when we joined Pesapal, to be honest. I can't remember. All through their services has been above par. Customer care service has been above par. Whenever you had a problem or you needed money from one country to the next, they found a way to do it for you. I appreciate Pesapal. Here today, I want to know and learn what is new in Pesapal, and I'm ready to gain wisdom. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So let's get down to business. Let's put our hands together and we'll welcome Mama Pesapal, our country manager, Madam Amy Rano.
Good morning.
Morning.
Can you guys hear me? Oh, thank you. All right. The past couple of days have been filled with activity as we did the final touches and confirm invites. And seeing you here today in large numbers truly humbles me, confirms not only greater times ahead for Pesapal, but a fundamental change in digital payments. My name is Amy Rono. I am the country manager of Pesapal Uganda. I believe my role this morning is perhaps easier than the rest. I must make sure that you enjoy the first of many, our biggest event in Uganda so far, the Pesapal Caffè. Get more input from you as a way of improving our services and increase your payment coverage in Uganda. And finally, make sure that you enjoy lunch we prepared for you by one of our very long-serving merchants, Team Kampala Serena. Muy válido. You got that right. Digital payments are changing because of coronavirus. Nearly 50% of global shoppers are using digital payments more than before, and the majority plan to continue doing so. E-wallets and contactless cards are some of the payment methods benefiting from this change, and consumers use less cash and more purchase through mobile money and card. To enforce the growth of this new payment platform calls for support from the regulator, stakeholders, shareholders, and our partners. And today, as we host you, we are pleased to inform you that we are determined to partner with you as a player in playing a major role to make sure that we uptake e-payments in amplified in Uganda, anywhere, anytime, as per our Pesapal vision and mission. We are thankful to the Bank of Uganda and continues to implement regulatory and supervisory measures to foster safe operation and usage of digital financial channels, which is key in deepening financial inclusion by a favorable policy environment, evolving consumer behavior, and recovery in economic activities. At Pesapal, our vision is to foster a secure and safe payment solution for our partners within the East Africa region and beyond. We operate in more than 5 countries and growing rapidly. Today, we are thrilled to showcase how we leverage technology to provide solutions for online and in-store payments. For the past 13 years, we have significantly grown by seeking a deeper understanding of payments and developing products that compete at a global space. Pesapal offers solutions to organizations in hospitality, travel, retail, and many more sectors. We are delighted to be working with over 50,000 merchants to date. At Pesapal, we listen, learn, and develop solutions that help organizations like you simplify your payments. Our theme today is harnessing technology in travel and hospitality. And so therefore, how do we catch the tide of digital payments, which has been growing rapidly across the globe since COVID-19? What do businesses need to do so that they can maximize online revenue for their businesses? How will the business adapt and thrive using the rails of technology in the face of stiff competition that is emerging post-COVID? Today, we seek to answer this question, and we look forward to an interacting session with you. Before I get off stage, allow me to introduce the Pesapal team. Pesapal team, please, if you can just step forward for 2 minutes. Pesapal team. We have different departments. We have a team that is representing us from the lab. I'm sure you've met a lot of the faces that you've interacted with before. For those of us who are joining us from Eastern Uganda, Western Uganda, from Entebbe, Kalangala, name it. We have teams that are in those regions just making sure that they are near you and taking care of you. Thank you, team. All right. So I'll just mention, as per the departments. No, I'm not done. Where are you all running to? Do we have everyone here? As they come in, when I mention your department, just wave, right? So that our guests can familiarize with you. I'm sure they know you more than they know me. All right. So with us, we have our sales department. Just wave. That's the team that sets you up the same day, very same day. If today you're not signed up with Pesapal, you can be sure you can walk out with 1 or 2 or 3 of our services. All right? Thank you, sales team. We have the marketing team. I'm sure from when you started coming in, you could just notice Pesapal. That is thanks to the marketing team. That's the team that helps us create demand for our services. Then thirdly, we have the account managers. Please wave. We have 2. Yes. That's the team that finds out what other ways can we support your business. Then we have finance. That's the team that ensures you get your money next day at the bank of your choice. We have technical team. All right. The team that builds our digital solutions and makes sure that they integrate into any POS system that you have. Then we have the chairman himself, the director, country director at Pesapal, Uganda. Thank you, team. Thank you. You can take your seats. So I welcome you to the inaugural Pesapal Caffè event in Uganda. Thank you very much.
I think she deserves a bigger round of applause. Yes, just to echo again, we are the only regulated payment service provider that is keen on providing customer-centric solutions. Yes, so we focus on the customer to help them cut down costs, boost revenue, and improve efficiency in their businesses. So we are going to have an interlude. Yeah, watch a video with some content. So, ready? Yes.
Nice to meet you guys again, those who left and those who are around. I'm really humbled to be in your presence right now. And I really thank God. And wow. Hey, guys, you're welcome. This is Kampala Serena. Feel at home. We are the most hospitable industry. We represent Uganda all over the world. We are Kampala Serena, and we really love you guys. We really love that you have given us this opportunity to be in our place. And talking about Pesapal, these guys are really handy. In case you have not had an encounter with them, I would urge you to really do, because you know what? These are people who are going to make your life easy. Personally, I'm in the accounts field, and I'm controlling incomes here in Kampala Serena. Oh, my name is Nachiria Caroline. I'm born again. But I was just telling you that these guys are really handy. The time when they came into contact with me, I was like, I have a lot of banks. I have this. Now I'm going to add this. You know, every time you're controlling finance, you're controlling incomes, you don't want very many places you're going to go to reconcile this, that, because each portal you're having, that means that's an extra work. But when these guys came in, we were having that challenge of Corona, and then we were having issues of paperless transactions, no money contact. Things were hard. But when they came in, they made life easy for us, in the sense that you just you can be at your home, give us a call, I want to make a payment. We go on their machine, we transact, you just feed in your number, they send you a code, you put in your password, things are okay. By the time you come to the hotel, your bills are done, even your invoice is ready in case you want to go with your invoice. Like, life became swift when we came into contact with these guys of Pesapal. And then the other thing that I really appreciate about Pesapal, we have issues where reconciliations take long to come. Like today's transactions, you wait for them tomorrow, especially where banks are concerned. Those guys in accounts can testify to that. But with Pesapal, we have portals, so every transaction that runs, immediately, you will just see it there. Even when a client has an issue, just in case there's a double charge or a wrong charge, you just call them. By the way, these guys have the best support system. I love those guys in the support team. You call Hannah, in fact, I don't even call them, I just send them on WhatsApp. I need this transaction immediately because this guest is making a lot of noise that he has been overcharged or they need to be refunded. And within 1 minute, something has been done and you go back to normal. Because you know what, guys in the hospitality industry, our clients, our guests are everything to us. Like, they are paramount. You make them, even when they are in the wrong, you own the wrong and then you give them what they want, right? So for us here, in case we have those challenges, because they will happen, we are human beings, and those things are bound to happen on a daily. But when they happen, we have that team that is handy, and that's the beauty about Pesapal. Like, that team is there. When you give them a call, even at midnight, there is Maureen. When you call her at midnight or you text her at midnight past 1, you have response. And that is really beautiful with you guys. I really applaud you guys for that. And I really think that team, like that team spirit you have, we have team spirit at Kampala Serena, and maybe you come next to us because we are the leaders. Yeah, that is it. You can urge with your keyboards in case you have, but that is it. We have the best team system, but you guys have a best, you're next to us, Yes, and that is really good because we in the hospitality industry, we need you to be like our backbones. We cannot work without you guys. Take an instance, if I have a client making a lot of noise to me, those people will go out there and tell the wrong things about us, and then we'll be disappointed in you guys. But here we are. When we raise an issue, you come in immediately to help us, and wow, that has really has left us on the top. You know, these guys of Arsenal making noise that they are on the top. I mean, for us, we are on the top of Arsenal. Yeah, and we want to thank you guys of Pesapal, especially the team that works behind there. You, the manager, you may not know these things, but man, those guys have given you thumbs up. You should give them a bonus. Yeah, and for you guys who are not yet in this, I really urge you to come in and experience what we call efficiency. I think it's more than efficiency. It's something better than that, because when you give me what I really want, I'll tell 10 more. In fact, I'll tell 1,000 more in any way. I'll share contact, I'll share an experience, but if you disappoint me, if I told 10, I'll tell 1,000,000. I don't go that side. But here I am, I'm telling you, come and experience the beauty. If you're an accountant like me, and you want to do your reconciliations to be on point. Actually, I have very many accounts I'm controlling. But when it comes to the Pesapal account, I'm always on point, because everything that transacted today, tomorrow, it's out of the system. Like, I don't have to go back unless if I have an issue, and those issues are really, really minimal. I can have like 3 issues in a year ever since we came into contact with these guys. They've been so good to us, and we hope we have been so good to you guys. Haven't we? So you should give us a bonus. Yeah, but guys, feel at home. This is Kampala Serena. You should just enjoy the environment. You should just enjoy the people. And as you share with these guys, make sure you understand what it is that you need, because you working together with someone, you need to understand the gist behind the processes that you're going through. You have to understand your clients. Now, when you understand your clients, that's when you go and choose the best service provider. And when it comes to incomes, transacting in restaurants, rooms, all that, I'll only give you one answer. That's going to solve most of your problems, as in without hassle. Because the world we are in right now is over. We can no longer be, where we used to be. We are going in front, like we are thriving. You have to proceed. And so if we are going to the future, how do we handle this? We have to let go of some things and then adopt new things. And as we are adopting new things, for you not to get left behind, I think Pesapal will give you the best answer. Yeah. If you've not had an encounter with them, please do. Because that's when you'll experience the joy that I feel. I wouldn't even be here right now. I'd be busy saying, I am going to do this. But here I am. I'm even chilling, like I don't have work. Yet I do have, but I know it is simplified, because these guys have made life easy for me as a person at the back end, reconciling things, reconciling invoices and stuff. And then for the managers out there in restaurants or in front office, still this is handy for you guys, because time, this Pesapal portal does not waste time. It's not something you're going to, like, maybe we are charging credit cards and then you're like, let's wait for the network to come back. I know you've experienced that. You just wait for the network. Here we don't have those things. It is swift. And even when there is a challenge, you just give them a call. You don't even have to call, a message. We have people who are not so good at reading messages, including myself, but these guys beat me at that. They read everything, even if it's not mobile money. Thank you so much, guys, for coming. Really, we appreciate, and we pray that you have the best day. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Now that Caro has given us a stamp of approval, you can follow us on our social media platforms. That is Pesapal UG. Yes, there's a conversation going on about the event on Twitter, and the hashtag is Pesapal Caffè, CAFFE, as well as hashtag Adapt and Thrive. Thank you so much, Caro. So we shall just dive deep into the main agenda of this session, led by our moderator, that is Hannah Besigomwe. We call her Hannah B. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Pesapal's Adapt and Thrive event. We're so happy to have you here. My name is Hannah Besigomwe. I'm an account manager with Pesapal Uganda, and I shall be your panel moderator for the day. So with us, we have 5 industry experts who will be part of our panel, and I'll just introduce them. And my dear panel, as I introduce you, please feel free to come up to the stage. We have with us Mr. James Kasavubu. He is the head of sales and marketing, Imperial Group of Hotels. Thank you. Please come and come, Mr. James. Mr. James has grown the Imperial Group with his strategic and leadership skills, and he has positioned the properties to be recognizable in the market. Mr. James, you're most welcome. Happy to have you. We also have with us Mr. Sven Saint-Calbre. He's the general manager, Latitude Group of Hotels. Mr. James is a well-rounded hotel management professional. He has a wealth of experience. He's worked with various properties around Africa, so he has a lot to share from his experience. His greatest desire is to ensure complete guest satisfaction. Mr. Sven, you're very welcome. Then we have the lovely Miss Jean Biamugisha. Miss Jean is the Executive Director for the Uganda Hotel Owners Association, that is UHOA, and they bring together hotel owners in the country, they lobby for them, and they put their interests first. So if you're a hotel owner and you've not joined UHOA, I'm sure by the end of this panel you'll be reaching out to Ms. Jean. Ms. Jean, you're very welcome. We're glad to have you. Then we have Mr. Bradford Ochieng. Mr. Bradford is the Deputy Chief Executive Officer for the Uganda Tourism Board. Mr. Bradford has worked with various government agencies promoting tourism, and currently he's the man behind pushing Uganda to be a tourist destination that we want people to see out there. You're very welcome, Mr. Bradford. We have, lastly but not least, we have our very own Mr. Isao Otika. He's the Technical Director at Pesapal Uganda. Mr. Isao has been at the forefront of creating many of the solutions that you see. He's been designing, he can design, he can develop many of these e-commerce products, and just making the next generation of payments, moving with the trends. So we are happy to have you, Mr. Isao. Okay, can we give them a round of applause as we start? Okay, thank you, dearest panel. To kick us off, we know that there has been a global pandemic that affected many businesses in all sectors, and hospitality was one of the hardest hit. Seeing that we are on the road to recovery, as much as there are other, global threats
Ebola and others. I'm sure there were lessons that were learned from the past pandemic. I'm sure strategies were put in place. So just to start us off, Mr. Sven, sorry to shock you. May you share with us some of the key lessons that you learned from the pandemic? I think it's
Hello. One of the key lessons we learned is that our staff is key to the success and key to maintaining the COVID, what are they called? COVID SOPs, there you go, thank you. And finding new ways of interacting with our guests as well. We did implement during the time of COVID, and we're still implementing at this point, online checking, so you don't need to check in and come through. You can pre-check in before you arrive, which is one of the things we have done and continue to do. Internally, we are looking at different ways of using Opera, that is our PMS that we have, and that Pesapal hopefully soon will be taking over for us. That's one of the ways we've gone with more electronic ways of seamless interaction with the guests. Still keeping, as we are a boutique hotel, trying to keep as much as we can in relations with our guests and providing them with the best customer service. COVID and now Ebola has hit us quite seriously in the recent years, as it has everyone sitting here. So it is new ways of finding online bookings, pushing our online bookings, pushing online, working with Pesapal, having seamless online payments, so you don't need to spend as much time at the front desk, and avoid front desk as much as you can, even for our staff. We do like to interact with our guests because that is what we're here for in general in the hospitality industry. These are different ways we have tried to cope with COVID and eventually new viruses that could appear in the near future, or hopefully not. We'll touch wood on that one.
Thank you, Sven. Thank you, Sven. You touched on the staff and customer service, and I believe it has made an impact. I would love to hear, James, what lessons can you say that you have learned in addition?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, as I've heard, I'm called James Kasavobo. Through the COVID period, we've learned so many things. We've had to adapt to the situation. Well, what to learn how to do things anew, because it's not like as business as usual. Well, all of us were taken by surprise. Everything was disrupted. So starting with manpower, staffing levels, we had to cut down on manpower, as it were, because we could not sustain them on the payroll. So through the process, at the same time, we had to keep our doors open. We didn't close our hotels, apart from those in Entebbe. We left one open and the others were closed. So through this, we've learned to appreciate, to embrace the digital technology in handling a couple of things, the online bookings. Because Pesapal, we're using the reservation engine of Pesapal on our website, which has been integrated. So it helps us a lot. Even the payment system, we had to use the Pesapal online payment, using the online, the virtual card payment system, and it's working very well. So basically, one thing we've learned is we've learned now to adapt to new ways of doing things and to being creative, not to stick to the old ways of doing things. Because like hotels, we tend to be rigid on many aspects of service, because ours is the service industry. You need very elaborate staffing level to give good customer care to the guests. This time around could not happen. So things changed a lot, as you're aware, up to right from accommodation to the conferencing levels. We find everything went virtual, everything went online, digital. So we've had to embrace technology And it's a way to go right now. I don't think things are going to change. When you look at the years to come ahead, we're going into more digital stuff, as it were, both in service delivery, payment system, and also the account management. Thank you very much.
Thank you, James. I would thank you for that contribution. Mr. Bradford, from your overview of the board covering Uganda, what can you share was the lesson that you learned?
Thank you so much. Just basically to just say tourism board is it's a government entity. We are responsible for marketing the country. And I would say it's an institution that should actually bring happiness to the country, of course, traveling and all that. And also, we set standards. If we have travel operations, tour operations, accommodation, we regulate all that. Now, COVID was, I think, to me, was also very kind in a way that for 193 countries, these are part of the UN family, we all came to ground zero. There was no trouble, there was no nothing, and of course, save for a few countries. So we thought, other than saying maybe France used to be number 1, Uganda was number 30, we are all at the same pace, that we should have actually used that to, to re-engineer, to learn and all that. That said, we started actually going digital. You've had a platform like Zoom. We all started Zooming. We started, you had Teams, Blue Jeans, name them. We actually trying to see exactly how do we communicate. But above all, of course, as a board, we still wanted really the destination Uganda to be just in the mind of travelers. So we started, re-engineering, thinking, what is it that we should keep Uganda alive? We did that. We even locally try really to make the operators know that, yes, we are in all this together, we are all losing and all this. Of course, at that point, as part of government, actors would say, where's the money to make us start? You understand? Where do you get money from? Can you bail us? Can you subsidize and all that? So I think these are some of the challenges that we had. Of course, as already communicated from the hotel industry, as again, these are part of the people we regulate, and we are happy when they're growing. Most of them were closed, actually closed, some completely closed. Before COVID, we had close to over 6,000 accommodation facilities distributed throughout the country. But I think with the COVID, very few of those were working because of total lockdown. And occupancy rates went down. Jean will tell you, as low as probably less than 5%. The rooms were empty, or some closed completely. So I think as a board, it was bad, because the earning then before COVID, we were talking about $1.6 billion just from travel and accommodation. And after that, definitely it was bad for the sector, it was bad for the country, and all that employment, direct employment over 600,000, then came down, and all this. So I think most of their economic fundamentals were disturbed. Of course, as a board also, we had our own beating. The monies were not there, cut. We also said, now, what do we do? No money for tools, for working and all that. So we started also trying to engineer what can we do without money. So I think we worked together. Even on the continent, we thought there's no need for competition needed to work together for the first time. So we are trying to, how are you engineering in Kenya? How about in South Africa? What are you doing? What are you planning? And started sharing, and this also digitally. So I think there are pluses, there are minuses with the COVID, and that's where we are now. I think we have embraced digital technology, and it's the way to go.
Thank you, Mr. Bradford. You've really touched on the challenges that the country faced. Ms. Jean, from the challenges that he said affected the hotels, maybe you can share some of the strategies that UHOA had put in place to safeguard the hotel owners since they were affected in that time.
Thank you so much, Hannah. Good morning, everyone. I will just start with one thing. What we learned from COVID is that we're a very resilient lot. And for me, that's good news because it means that we're not going to be extinct for a very long time to come. COVID caught us completely unawares. I mean, what were the odds? The only other ever worldwide lockdown we ever heard about was the Spanish flu. And COVID comes, and we had no contingency plans. When we started the lockdown, I remember personally I was excited because I was like, yay, finally some leave. And we thought, this is just going to last 2 weeks at the most. And then it kept going and going. What this taught us and really showed us how naked we were is that we were never planned for something like this. We insure against everything. Medical insurance, this was not covered under medical insurance. We insure against travel. This was not covered under that. We insure against, acts of God. This was never under any of that. So the first thing that we did as we started our recovery was, how can we better prepare ourselves? Like Mr. Cheng said, the hotels completely closed. We sent our staff home indefinitely. There is nothing more painful than being sent on indefinitely. What does that even mean? Are you going to come back? Are you not going to come back? Should you look for another job? So you're always in limbo. And I think it should be one of the things that is listed among the basic human rights. People should not have to live in limbo. There should be a certainty to life, to waking up every day, to what you do. You should have a target. You should have a dream and hope. And all that was completely dashed during COVID. As a hotel association, of course, our main duty is lobby and advocacy. This is where we were tested to our core. We're a membership-based organization. People pay membership to be part of us. And so this is one of the reasons where we're actually put on gunpoint and people said, now we really need to see what it means to be part of an association. The biggest thing we did was to lobby government. And I think we might be one of the few sectors that was actually successful in lobbying government for a stimulus package. We got money from the government of Uganda through the UDB and Uganda Development Bank, and it was also facilitated by the development partners, the EU. And the majority of this was tied towards salaries, payment of salaries, because tourism, like Mr. Cheng said, it is one of the biggest foreign exchange earners for our country, but also one of the biggest employers of this country. 77% of all our staff are young people between the ages of 18 and 30. We all know the issues with youth unemployment. We see this every single day. If the youth are not unemployed, there's high crime rate. There is every vice you can think of. So when you're looking at industries that have a very high absorption rate for young people and women, that tourism is one of them. I think we're the biggest employers of young people and women, second only to agriculture. So one of the things that this money was actually tied to was payment of salary. So much as all of our staff were furloughed and they were home, we wanted to make sure that at least they can continue receiving a salary, so that, because for us, one salary affects a whole community behind. It affects a whole family. So by saying that, let's try to find ways of continuing to pay, even if it's 50% of a salary, you're actually, rescuing the whole community at the back that this face presents to you. So we did have that. And once we opened, we went into robust training. For us, we were closed for 2 years. With the airport closed, with the curfew, most of our income comes from the night economy. We were not open until end of January this year, meaning that for 2 solid years, we were completely not making money. And unfortunately, even though you close the hotel, we are still spending. You know, for us, we have fixed overheads. We have to pay for the lights. We had to have people living in those hotels, turning on the taps and flushing the toilets every single day just so that they don't rust. We had to have people maintaining those gardens. We had to have some food in storage in case 1 or 2 guests fell into our compound and they needed a meal. So for us, it's not like we close the way we close our homes and go to the villages for Christmas. No, we had to continue incurring all these costs with no income. So that is part of what we did. We continued training. We made sure that there was a facility available for hotels to have some sort of revenue to continue carrying out some of their activities. And I think now, almost a year later, I can confidently say that we are a little bit back on our feet, although we still have things now like Ebola, which come in and keep knocking us down.
That's true. Thank you, Jean, for that elaborate view of what you have done as WHOA. I'm sure it made a big impact on the hotels. Now, with these challenges and the strategies, and all of you have mentioned how digitization came into play while you were fighting the pandemic. Maybe, Isao, from your tech point of view, maybe you can share, as Pesapal, as a tech-based company, what strategies did you put in place to get your clients, your merchants, back on their feet after that pandemic?
Thank you for that, Hannah. As we all know, the COVID pandemic was really a trying period for all of us, especially Pesapal started strong with it was the hospitality industry that really, put us ahead. So when the travel restrictions came in and you had all these lockdowns, we were really affected, since hospitality was our bread, it was our butter, in fact, it was our entire breakfast. So when we were trying to figure out how to use Zoom, work remotely, we had to keep thinking, how do we help our partners keep moving? So in the background, our team came up with a platform called Foodie, so which is an online system that allows restaurants accept payments online. So you go to it's how do you call it? It's an app. It's a web-based app that allows restaurant customers order for food, make payments, and then the food is delivered to your home. So you might wonder what's the difference between, let's say, Foodie and Glovo or Jumia. The service might be the same, but our key differentiator was that we only charged for moving the payments, unlike other service providers where they have to mark up the cost. So we knew it was a tough time for the industry, so we only charged for the transaction fees. During that time, we also built a mobile app called Pesapal Mobile. So much as the transactions declined for hospitality, we noticed there was a growth in terms of bill payments. So people were buying airtime, paying their utilities, using the app. So the overall lesson we learned is that you just have to be flexible. Things will always come up behind our backs, and as long as you keep adapting, and with technology, it's really flexible. You can always change. Unlike, let's say, a building like this, you can always make changes to suit your business needs. That's how we experienced the COVID period.
Thank you for that, Isao. You all talked about online, how you went, online, and we saw that clients actually did start turning more to website booking, social media feedback, checking reviews, OTAs. People started booking online more. Maybe, James, as a seasoned marketer in the hospitality industry, can you share maybe some of the opportunities that further exist for the hospitality business in the digital marketplace?
Sorry. In the area of sales or in marketing, right now, the bulk of hotel business is done online. You find anybody traveling or trying to source where to go for services, hotel services, he'll go online to find how to make a booking. So, of course, online, there's so many options you will have online. You're all aware about that. You have got different platforms. The common names, you have the Booking.com, the Expedia, and the others out there. There's so many, but these are the most common. Then Pesapal also has a reservation engine, which is integrated with the payment system, and can be integrated on your hotel website. It works very well for us because when making the booking, payment is made there and then, online, at the time of making the reservation. So it makes it easy because you don't have to spend money to have your own engine or to buy from another service provider. This is free. So we're having a lot of our bookings are coming through that and payments. So it has been very convenient for us. And when a client calls you that, how do I pay? Now, the traditional way of sending money through the bank is a bit cumbersome to people. But with Pesapal, there's this option that you can there's even mobile money. There's MTN and Airtel now integrated, I think, on the Pesapal portal, plus the Visa and the MasterCard. So it's, because a booking is complete when this payment has been done, as in confirming it. So you have all these options, so it makes it very easy. So instead of somebody trying to go through the bank or something, or the old way of doing credit card payments, you remember those old hoteliers like us, used to have a form sent, they fill it, then you photocopy the card, then you send it back, either you scan or fax it those days, and then, yeah, even they ask for your passport. It's a very tedious thing. But now everything is just snappy, and it's very convenient because it's like, it works well for both the client and us, the hotel. At the end of the day, even the money is on the account. And with Pesapal also, there's a good security system behind it. If I don't have cases of a card being hacked or stolen and so on, and then it's used, I've not had that kind of thing. So it is safe and it's well protected. And so basically, right now, as the world is, things have changed. I just have to re-emphasize and repeat myself that people who are going digital, have gone digital, and that's the way to go. And I think with time, we're going to have it a lot easier, perhaps to have the apps on phones or something as we go ahead. And so that people, clients can do their booking right from their phone sets, or from their PC and other devices. So I know for marketing, there's a lot of opportunity there. So I think I'm one of the, I won't say I was the first, or one of the first in Kampala to join the Pesapal, and somehow, where I work, I control everything somehow. I don't know how, but I do everything myself. So accounts have to come to me. I do everything. I process the booking and the payments and everything, and the withdrawals. So it's not a very good way of doing things, but then I could train others also with time, because I won't be there forever and ever. So now with the new POS system, which have been introduced to different hotels, now the accountants are coming on board also. So for the payments from the outlets and so on, they're being controlled with accountants. But before, for hotel bookings like accommodation and group bookings, I was doing it in sales and marketing. Yeah, but it's a very versatile product. So I encourage those who are not joined. I think it's good for the big hotels, small hotels. So if you be out there in upcountry, I'm here in Ukarangala and Western Uganda. You find that some of them may not have a budget to to source or to procure services, high-tech services, digital services from companies and will be charged highly. Here, Pesapal is giving it free. So it helps the small businesses, small hotels, small Airbnb and small restaurants. You know, I'm thinking in petrol stations, everywhere. Everybody's coming on board. And so it's a great thing. And I think it'll be good for our business and increasing our sales. Thank you.
Thank you, James.
Yeah.
I love that you brought out the transition of bookings, how they used to be. Maybe Sven, you've been in the industry as well for many years, and you've seen how that has changed and progressed, and now the digital market space is everything. Can you also share your experience and how it's playing a role?
Of course. Well, when I came into the hospitality industry, we were still doing things by hand. Our reservations were all called, and you would send a check, or you would pay on arrival, and you'd send through the post with a confirmation. Things have changed over the years, and recently we use quite a lot of technology, and we are moving, hopefully shortly, thanks to Pesapal, to Opera cloud-based for our 3 properties. We have one in Malawi and Zambia as well, and for here. We use a channel manager. We don't use your booking engine for the moment. We use SiteMinder, which we've been using for all 3 of our properties now, if I'm correct. And the channel manager. We do a lot of dynamic pricing. Hoteliers and in general around the world do not like to change their rates and are very close to their money. And we like to make sure that we get what we want. We have the dynamic pricing, so we take the whole market, what's going on, and for those who do watch what we do, because I do watch what others do, I look at your rates every day, I know what's going on, that's the way I do things. Our dynamic pricing lets us adjust quite rapidly amongst our competitors and also amongst our occupancies. So if you book today, you might be paying $150. Tomorrow, you might be paying $180 because we've gone from 50% to 80% occupancy. So all these tools that have come in, outside of the Booking.coms and Expedias, which I'm not a big fan of because their commissions are too high, and I try to keep them away as much as I can and still go back to working with tour operators or travel agents and prefer dealing directly with, but that's how we try to. We try to push. We have guest review as well, so we get automatic feedback. We send out a automated confirmation email. We use Pesapal for all of our confirmations, well, for our payments, online payments, and through our online portal as well. We have a pre-arrival email, which is sent usually 2 to 3 hours, 2 to 3 days before, depending on how quickly, which again tells you everything that's going on, reminding you of COVID SOPs, which are still in place in some places. Not here, but at our hotel we do. And everything that you need to know, the restaurants, the menus, and anything that you would like to know. On your departure, within 20 minutes of your checkout, through modern technology, of course, and different apps that we use, we send out a post-stay where you are welcome to tear us apart or welcome to say very nice things about us. But we use that, and that helps us deliver better service in general. We try to continue interaction as much as we can in our industry, although technology has helped greatly, thanks to Pesapal recently, last year actually, just before the last lockdown. We implemented through their, whatever they're called, those machines where you put the credit card machines in, POSs, which is directly linked to our Micros point of sale. So a guest can, the check amount goes directly, so they're getting the exact amount, and we don't have to print a bill, and we don't have to give them either a printed copy of the receipt, which they get straight away, which is the same process at checkout. We email you your, so we're trying to preserve the environment as well, using less paper, using modern technology to satisfy better our guests, and hopefully that's working to a certain extent. And we use Pesapal amongst other things, well, shortly with our cloud-based Opera in that aspect, but all these permit to give a better experience, a quicker, seamless check-in, check-out, and a better experience for our guests, and gets us our feedback. So with all these modern ways of doing things, we preserve the environment, and we have a better guest experience. That's basically it.
Thank you, Sven, for that honest feedback. We're going to have a Q&A session after we've had this discussion, so you can just take note of any questions you would like to ask the panel. If you want to address it to anyone, you can also take note. So you talked about guest experience, Sven. And that's very key in hospitality. That's why customers come. They want to be satisfied. They want their needs met for travel, for hospitality. They want the speed. They want convenience. Okay, when making bookings. James, as maybe you can tell us, how do you build a brand known for exceptional service delivery? Because out there, the guests are going to want to know that what they'll find at the hotel is, customer service, that they'll be happy. So how do you build that brand as a hotelier?
Thank you. Brand is a very key thing in hospitality, and it doesn't come cheap. You have to invest to have a brand. And I think in that area, a number of us are very weak there in the local industry, apart from the multinationals, the big names, the Sheraton, the Serena, Latitude, or the Marriott Group. Now, our local chains, and I belong to one, the Imperial Group, we have a brand, but I don't think it stands out the way it should be, because we're yet to invest. Now, we had this disruption through COVID and so on, but you find when you have a brand, people, when they're flying to the country, they know what to expect. And through the brand, of course, you get loyal clients, you build a loyalty program. So we have a brand as the Imperial brand, but we have our own clientele, even the local market, because when they come here to our hotel group, this is what they expect. When you come to the Serena brand is known. So people come here expecting a certain level of service, okay? Right from the time you enter the gate, right to the security, up to when you reach your room, and the restaurant experience, and every check-in experience. So in hospitality, if you are to survive, you have to build a brand, whether it's a 2-star brand, 3-star brand, 4-star brand, 5-star brand. A brand remains a brand. So there are different levels. Okay, so when you say it's a brand, it should only be a 5-star brand. Say all the big names you have heard of in the national market or in the local market. So we are building on that, and that when it comes, you have to be consistent, and clients will not be disappointed. So in that area, in our market in Uganda, I think we still have a lot of work to do, perhaps through UTB, the hotel owners. They may help us reach there through regulation. So you find service standards are spelled out, minimum standards are spelled out, and they are met. Okay, so that's what I have to say right at this point. Thank you.
Thank you, James.
Yeah.
So it's about managing the standards and expectations,
Exactly.
and trying to meet them at that point,
Yeah.
to ensure that they're happy. Maybe Jean, you can also share from your overview what have you done to accommodate that customer, the modern day customer that has particular needs, particular wants. They want everything to be made easy for them, and now that we're going digitally, how are the hotels, building on that?
When you work in the tourism industry, I always tell people that we never have a dull moment, because it's very dynamic. It's always changing. What was relevant, what was working 5 years ago is completely obsolete now. When we go for marketing in the international expos, at one time we were carrying sacks and sacks of marketing materials, magazines, brochures, etc. Then we came to the little flash discs. Then And now all you have to do is just carry your phone. You know, somebody wants to know about you, they will scan. Somebody wants to know about you, they will check out your website. Somebody wants to know about you, you know, everything is on the phone. And our travelers are even more informed than us about the country. By the time somebody comes here, they know everything about this country. And again, that's all thanks to pushing everything to the cloud, pushing all the information and making it open and available for everyone. So in terms of where it is that I feel that we are going, this is very interesting because I just arrived this morning from Jinja, where we've been in a workshop with UNDP that has been talking about digitalization and managing of data. In a very short time, and I recently, one of the weekends, my dad asked me and said, how have you protected yourself, you as an individual, as a brand, against digitalization in future? Everything is going to be, you know, digitalized. How safe is your job? You know, for people who work in banks, that's as an example. We grew up always having to go to the bank to transact. I know there's this social media meme about the people who feel they've made it in life, and the bank tellers were always at the top of that list. But now all the banks are closing. All these people are becoming jobless. Everything, again, like I said, is on your phone, is online. I honestly cannot remember the last time I went into a banking hall. You know, we are looking at more automated vehicles. So we are looking in 20 years having self-drive Ubers. What will happen to the rest of us who are not actually trying to see how we can future-proof ourselves, our careers, you know, against digitalization? We are looking at planes, because I do watch a lot of National Geographic, and one of my favorite programs is air crash investigations. And every time you're seeing everything is always pilot error. So recently somebody asked me, would you be more comfortable if you boarded an aircraft that was, you know, that didn't have a pilot and everything was automated? I said, hell yes, because, you know, with us, there's a lot of emotion involved in a crisis. But with the machine, it's this, it's that, and you stand a better chance of winning. So then, what will happen to the people who are studying right now to be pilots in the next couple of years? So how do we future-proof ourselves? That's the same thing we are trying to do for hotels. We are looking around, and COVID showed us that the majority of our jobs actually, and I don't want to mention the hotel, I remember when we were coming out of lockdown, many of the hotel owners were saying, ooh, we are overemploying. The few people that we have called back have been doing everything much faster, much more efficient than many people. So if a hotel has 50 staff, everybody wants to work in their own little cocoon. So if a guest is suffering with luggage, but because me, I'm only front office, I'm not going to go and help with the luggage. But when it was during COVID time and the 50 were on leave and we had 10 and one person could do 3 jobs, you know, if you're at the reception and there is no guest, then you can go and serve. If the restaurant is full, you can run to the kitchen and cook and come and serve. And they found that with fewer people, you actually save more money and you're also more efficient. You know, with everything automated, a guest can check in and pay and, you know, book their ticket without having to interface with a human being and come to the hotel and use their phone to check in and actually even go to their room and check out and pay. We find that the world, and unfortunately, it's moving very fast. You know, we are talking, right now we see Teslas, all the rage in Europe, but, you know, in 10 years from now, we won't even be importing the German cars that we're importing right now because everything will have to be an EV. So we need, and I think as hotels, this is exactly what we're trying to do, to future-proof ourselves, especially when it comes to digitization. Make sure now people are training. We are really putting more emphasis on digital training. We are putting more emphasis on people really being and pushing all our information to the cloud. We do not want an instance whereby you fire a staff and then they carry all their files and you have to start from, or you fire somebody and they delete everything and you don't have anything saved to the server. You get that one out of the way. Push everything to the cloud. Just make sure that you also emphasize on security. Many people are very reluctant to, use online systems, online engines, because they are afraid. Because much as we are having all these beautiful new innovations, we have the other side of that coin that we don't normally talk about. We have the hackers who are waiting for you to put your credit card into the Pesapal system and they get your information. So when we are going online, you have to build confidence in the consumer that their information is safe, their privacy is safe. I don't want to put in my details and then leave a digital print whereby somebody can stalk me, somebody can come and clean me out, somebody can access my nudes, and blackmail me or something like that. So security is very important, digitalization is very important, but also future-proofing, especially for the young people coming into the industry, so that you are relevant and you have a job.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you so much. You touched on how digitization has helped increase revenue by reduction of costs. And I think that's the dream of everyone in this room, maximize revenue, cut down costs, and that's the role that digitization has played. We're reducing the need for manual intervention and everything, and we're bringing out other solutions, to bridge this gap. Maybe Bradford can share with us, from a promoter. You promote Uganda. What role does digitization play in attracting tourists? How do you push for that?
Yeah, thank you so much. Again, as I said, this is a very, very competitive world. Uganda is not working alone. We are promoting against Kenya, Rwanda, within the EAC. We are also competing against European countries, American countries, and all that. I think the first thing that you need to do probably is to differentiate yourself. What is it that's quite unique to Uganda that should allow somebody to travel all the way from North America up to here? Before COVID, Uganda was one of the 10 fastest growing countries in the world in terms of the next destination for tourists. So they were by 2026. But of course, now this could have changed completely. This was a report by the WTTC. This is the World Travel Tourism Council. It's quite an independent group. Now, there were many things that they put in consideration, including digitization. So as a country, definitely, you need to be there. First, you use the digital platform to be present. You use the digital platform to give content. This content, as Jean was saying, that he used to carry bags and bags, not anymore. So how can you be available? How will you be seen? How can they know that the little country called Uganda is actually there and still very, very attractive? So I think this is the challenge that we have as UTB, to remain very, very relevant and seen. For the tourists, of course, you have normally this is just a simplification. We normally say there are those 5 A's. You're looking at accommodation, for example, and because all here you have either actors or platform for actors. Now, in accommodation, definitely you must have all these digital tech to make sure that it's easy for some to have good experience, easy for someone to book, easy for somebody to have confidence in your facility, easy to show that even if you're a local brand, you can actually compete, easy to show that you have a local experience that is different from an international brand. So it's quite broad and large. Then, of course, you then go to access. The second is accessibility. With many touch points, can be through on land, by water, by air, and all this. Again, digitization, again, is mainstream. How do you book a travel from Entebbe to Kampala. Can you find your way also through all this? I mean, this is all IT. So is Uganda capable? So that's another one. Awareness, that's another A again. Still IT, you understand? Amenities, when you come to the room, again, there are many contact points, and yet these contact points must be actually contactless. So are you capable now when you have the issue of COVID-19? It's even more challenging. So again, these are all competitive factors that sometimes they actually compare, put Uganda against the comparators, and then they rate. So when you come up and people see that you're somewhere, then people will say, yes, this is it. Then the last point, of course, the one of the 5 A's is attraction. What is it that attracts travelers to come here? Now, just to illustrate, we have 10 parks, national parks, and unfortunately, all our parks are at the border points. Most of them are outside Kampala, the national parks. So they're all, some are in the eastern Elgon, Kitepo, that's almost at the border of Sudan. Then you have, no, they are all far away. So with all these points, you need access. Some of these attractions you have to pay to go in. Some you pay prior, others you pay at the point. So all this, they need actually some kind of system, IT is integrated and all that. Now, of course, to have it the country competitive, first these touch points must all be connected to the wider network. And of course, as you see now, if you talk of the last mile in terms of the backbone, for example, the IT infrastructure. So I think then that tells you exactly where we are. Where is the last mile if you are in Depot? You understand? Where is the last mile when you are in Lake Mburu? Even here, where is the last mile? Because the last mile, I think, for Serenity is almost at the last mile. So you have all these challenges. And of course, as a destination, you must show that really you are there, you are present. Unfortunately for the country, if you look at the ICT competitive index, the last study that was done in 2019, we were 127 or 119 out of the 140 comparator countries. So that tells you again what we need to do as a country. You are 119, you are comparing 140. You're just better by 21 countries. So it tells you the penetration. It tells you how the facilities are actually embracing ICT. So most of them, maybe within the CBDs here, I would say probably 80%, 70% already within. But if you move outward, maybe like Depot I talked about, you may find actually that the facilities that may not. They could be capable, but then the last mile could be far away. And if it is there, probably it's quite expensive. So these are some of the challenges. Again, as UTB, we need to work with many partners. We need to work with many partners for access, whether you're talking about the tourism roads, whether you're air access, whether you're talking about ICT, whether you're talking about the travel agents, operators, and all that. So the partners are many, including the online travel agents that they talked about, whether Expedia, TripAdvisor, Booking.com. Sometimes you find they actually have their own rating. They have their rating. On the other hand, as UTB, we are the competent authority in terms of grading and classification of these facilities. Of course, the last time we did the grading was some time back, but it's one way that we show the travelers that Serena is a 4-star, it's a 5-star based on this criteria. But these online travel agents, they also do rating. If you go to Booking.com, you find their stars there, 1-3 stars, TripAdvisor, they have also done their rating. So we are giving a 5-star to Serena. And yet again, as UTB, if we do our rating, probably you find Serena is actually not a 5-star. This is an example. I'm not saying Serena is a 5-star. Just giving us an example. So you get the IT contradiction, you know, and of course they are motivated by feedback, satisfaction, and all this, and yet in reality this could actually be very, very different. But you have to manage this. The partners are quite many, and most of these embed IT in their whatever. We have also seen now increasingly more people are traveling alone. Yeah, in the next 3, 4, 5 years, these group travels are all going away. People now, even guiding, they want to be guided by, self-guided. You have your app, you're going to Kidepo, where have you reached? Sometimes, of course, now it's 6,000 kilometers, or, you find actually 2,000 and all that. So those are the contradictions we have. So we need to manage this, and unfortunately, it's evolving, it's emerging every time.
Thank you.
Well, even payments as they were, the currencies are very many. Convertibility, the rates in that process, you find people are crying. You understand? People are crying, okay, the rates are quite, the banks are ripping us. Some banks charge more, others charge less. Some handlers, Pesapal could charge more, another one could, all these. So I think these are the challenges that we have. And yet at the end of it all, as UTB, we want to see a very competitive destination, very competitive. So we need your support to help us show the traveling public that Uganda is actually competitive. What you see is what you get. One time I booked a facility somewhere in South Africa with a big swimming pool. This was coming on my phone. Big swimming pool, very nice and all that. But of course, when I reached there, it was a very small pool. Actually, I would feel it. And then I think I went at a time when it was what's it, autumn? The leaves are actually almost covered the entire water. But when I was checking, it was very clean, very nice, with a lot of, all this. So these are some of the challenges that you have, and you wouldn't want to have this happen in Uganda. But again, it depends on actually what we portray forward. The banks, this week I also got a rude awakening. Like she said, for many months I had not been to a banking hall. Then suddenly, I wanted to use my ATM. It had expired in September. I didn't quite know this business of trying to this. So this time the systems were down a bit. I said, let me go and check on my bank. So I went to a point. I put my card. It was swallowed, captured. Then it printed a leaf, said, go to your branch. Now, my branch was closed actually three years ago. I didn't know. So I picked my car, I drove. There were no signage. I said, now what is all this? No signage. But then I said, but this computer can never tell a lie. Yeah, it can never tell a lie. My branch could be somewhere. Then I said, agent. I said, no, I think this branch closed. The next branch is actually maybe like a kilometer away. So I realized, anyway, this is Standard Chartered Bank, really. I've realized now as they talk, there are just 3 branches in the entire country. 3 like this. One is at Game, then the headquarters, then the other one at City Wilson Street, something like that. Then I said, let me try one. I tried, I found the line was terrible. And then I just said, manager, I am not going to sit on this line. Your computer told me that I should go to my branch. My branch was closed. You have to attend to me. Then he said, you don't have to come here. You actually should have done this thing online. I said, yes, I should have done online, but then I was lied by that guy. That computer should have told me, go online and do this. So I've come. I said, you have to attend to me. Definitely attended to me. But the message really is, I think sometimes the digital can be very misleading. We need to be very, very careful. And then when you have those relationship managers, whatever they are called, they actually must be on spot.
Yes.
They must be on spot. They must be looking to these customers. If we are king, we should actually be treated as king, and not again for us to be calling the other way around. But it's very challenging. IT is very challenging, but really this is the way to go. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bradford. Just as we close, maybe Sal, you can also just give your viewpoint on how hotels, and travel industries can capitalize on technology.
Thank you for that. So just to add on Cheng's work, everyone has information on their fingertips. Right now, if let's say you're driving along Kampala Road and your car breaks down, or it's making a funny sound, you just Google, what do I do? And you'll probably find an answer. So same thing, when someone is traveling and they put your hotel's name, does the pin point to the right place, or does it send you behind the neighbor's wall? So those are the small details that you want to keep in mind. But just to keep on the basics, you want to invest in your technology stack. So at minimum, let's say you have to have a website. 90% of users access these websites on the mobile phone. So it's no longer acceptable to have a site where you have to scroll, let's say, sideways to read an entire sentence. Everything should be visible on one page. It should be mobile friendly. It should load really fast. If your website, let's say, takes more than 5 seconds to load, you will lose that customer. So you have to make sure that your website is up to date. It has the latest information. If your branch has closed, just indicate it. Just say, this branch is closed. We are now here. And the visuals are very important. Just to build on this point again, I have seen cases where you go to TripAdvisor or Booking.com. You see there's a bit of a contrast between the photos that the hotel posts and what you see on TripAdvisor. So a lot of times, if I'm to travel somewhere, I'll first go to TripAdvisor and see the guest photos. And that's where I get an idea of what is at the property. And if I go to TripAdvisor and I only see 3 photos, I may not consider the place, because I want to see at least 10, 15 photos of the location. And on top of that, since the typical user journey is someone goes to Google, maybe searches for a place to stay in Kidepo, the first thing that is to come up is probably an online travel agent. That is Expedia, maybe Booking.com. I know Sven doesn't appreciate them, but they usually come on top. So once someone visits the online travel agent, they'll look through the photos, maybe see the prices. Naturally, they'll go and look for your website. So if your website is fast, has enough photos, has enough information, instead of now having that customer go back to Booking.com and make that booking, why don't you lock the customer? And the only way to do that is if you have a booking system that is able to take the customer through the process. And those are some of the tools we offer to the hospitality industry. So yes, it's true the online travel agencies charge a lot, but they do have value in terms of, they have a huge marketing budget, and that's part of where you're getting the traction. Your website may not come on top, but at least you will appear on the online travel agent. So as you sign up to more and more online travel agents, depending on the size of your hotel, you will start realizing that it's hard to maintain your inventory synchronized across all your travel agents. So let's say you're signed up to 20 different OTAs. If someone books on Expedia and that's your last room, does it automatically block the rooms on the other OTAs, or does someone have to log in and quickly block, this room on all the 20 OTs. So there are tools that you can use to manage that challenge. And that's the channel manager, which is also one of our products in our hotel suite. And then naturally, you also want to invest in having a property management system like Oracle, which sits at your front desk, at your finance. So when someone makes a booking online, does that booking from your website, does it automatically appear on your property management system? If it doesn't, it means there's a gap, that there's a manual leg that you need to fill up. And that's where our Oracle solution comes in. So it will synchronize what is on your website, what is on your online travel agent sites, as well as what is on your property management systems. And it really frees up now your time to focus on offering the best service you can to your guests, instead of running around, updating this, updating that, sign here, sign there. A guest will just go online to their phone, make a booking, make a payment, receive the confirmation, and then 3 days to the travel, you get an email with a reminder, maybe a pin, to where the hotel is, maybe further information of things that you can do around the hotel, and then you come, enjoy, and depending on how much further you want to take it, you can also open up on social media. WhatsApp, can I text your hotel number and make a booking? Will you send me a link that I can use to make my payment? So all that technology is available. Depending on who you choose, the costs may be high or the costs may be low. For example, if you use Pesapal. I think I'll leave it there.
Thank you. Thank you, Sal. Thank you, dear panelists, for the insights. I'm sure we have all learned a lot. Before you get off the stage, let me open it up to the audience members. We can have 1 or 2 questions for the panelists. If you have a question, you can just raise your hand. Any questions? Okay, we have 1 question. Please introduce yourself and where.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
This is Dinesh, General Manager for Canary Hotel Report. I have a question for technical team. When we get payment from the guest is saying I am going to share the credit card details. So what is the glitch that we don't have a facility to charge the card offline?
Okay, that's directed to Mr. Isao. Please take that.
Thank you for that. So I think gone are the days when guests should be sharing their card details with the hotel. First of all, it's a security risk. It's as good as giving your mobile money PIN. I don't think you want to do that. Because, when you go online, all you do is put in your card number, expiry dates, and CVV, and then the transaction goes through. So you don't want to put yourself at risk as a hotel, and where you find a guest is saying, I sent my card details to this hotel, and now I'm seeing transactions on my card that I'm not aware of. So to counter that, you need to have a solution such as, let's say, an invoicing system, online invoicing system, or even just a booking engine that is integrated into your site. So what happens is, let's say your guest reaches to you on email or Instagram, you simply send them a link. So this link has a description of what is being paid for, maybe 3 nights, full board, and it will indicate the amount. So when they click that link, it will show them the different card options, Visa, MasterCard, even mobile money. And then they'll feed in the card details themselves, and then the payment is complete. So you don't have to handle card details. So card not present is something that's really phasing out over time.
I agree with you. that there is a security threat, but when initially guest tried to alone for 3 days only, and later on he realized that I have to extend my stay, and extra will also, like for the liquor or for the restaurant bills. Again and again we are sending him a link for the payment, and he is getting disturbed. He's saying me, why don't you get my details and you charge offline? Getting me. So sometimes guests take it as an excuse from the hotel side that why don't you make this facility? I'm giving you business, I'm staying with you, and it is just you are disturbing me again and again. That's, I mean, just want to have a solution on this.
Understood. So one of our latest innovations of products is called tokenization. So what happens is the guests can have the option to put in their card details on their end, and then they can have the hotel save the token. So the hotel doesn't have access to the card details. They simply have the right to charge this card over future. So it's something we are rolling out very soon. So soon you'll be able to, once the guest makes a payment, they'll have the option to allow the hotel to carry out further charges, maybe up to a certain date. I hope that yes, that question.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dinesh. Do we have any other questions or questions at the back? I think we have 2 questions.
My question is with the, I'm trying to find out, is Pesapal integrated to only Oracle property management systems, or it can also be integrated to other property management systems?
Yes, we can integrate it to almost any property management system. As long as it has an online interface, you simply get us in touch with the provider, and then we'll talk the technical language and then connect them. So yes, we have done it before for other property management systems. It's just that today we're focusing on Oracle. May I ask what system are you using?
Well, it's a bit general. It's not a particular system, but well, I'm called Simon, and I'm a consultant in hospitality with my colleague here. So sometimes when you get to consult for clients, they find some of these property management systems are a bit expensive, so they want to opt for more affordable ones. And when they do, so if they take on one, or if you advise them to take on one that isn't integrated with Pesapal, then that would be a challenge. So that's
there are a number that are integrated like easy, and we can share this with you.
So probably either through, I understand we have some account managers that could easily make available integrations to just the website, the web building apps on the web. Then also I had a question, especially the fact that we are kind of tuning into the post-COVID array of things. One thing that manifested as a big solution for adaptability to tourism was the ability to pay for packages, tourism, hotel rooms through wallets. Most safaris, for example, are thousands of dollars. We learned through COVID that the local clientele kept the lights on for many businesses. And the local clientele won't have $2,000, but they still do need the service, still need to go out and have a safari. So a few individuals adopted a website link where you pay for your safari in the form of a wallet. So if it's $3,000 for a safari, you could have $800 in, $200 in, then finally you clear your payment. Is that already available on Pesapal?
we actually do have a product that allows for payments to be done on installments. So we have a product called Lifestyle and Entertainment product called Ticket Sasa. So you just go to ticketsasa.com. We have a whole bunch of packages, trips that East Africans or anyone from anywhere can make payments. So you have the option of paying, let's say, 3 installments. So you go in, make the first installment, and that secures your package. And then maybe after 3 months, you make another payment, and then as the travel date approaches, you complete the payment. And with tokenization, where your card details are stored for future use, similar to, let's say, Amazon or PayPal, your payment can be optionally automatically charged. So yes, we do have a solution for that. And even for service providers, that you can expose such functionality. So let's say you have your own product that does something like that. Yes, through our APIs, you can integrate into your product and offer such payment plans to your customers.
I hope that answers your question.
KFC. Just a question for Isa. For purposes of running promotions and our marketing, is there a way we can do like you have to guide us more on the data regulation and protection, but like harvesting of customer behavior trends, the orders, the volumes, so that maybe in a quarterly we can do the promos, or it can guide our packages on the marketing side. And what's the fine line between encroaching on the privacy and also giving us the information we need?
It's true, there is a thin line between too much information and too little information. So it is possible to anonymize the data. So we can look at things like amounts, transaction time, location. So those are some of the data points that we would sit together and look at in relation to your business. How you can harvest that and treat it for your marketing. So yes, it's possible to anonymize the data and provide analytics for that. That's how the marketing team would be better placed to get.
Thank you for the question.
This is why data points. If you have like an ML engine, you can interpret with like a unit.
Right now, I wouldn't say we have exposed it in that way, but on a case-by-case basis, it's something we can talk about. So maybe where you can analyze, you can help you maybe analyze your own data, and then you can use the tools that you already have to make certain decisions.
And then secondly, adding to this question, he asked about an integration, and he said that you can talk to their provider, integrate with them. Like first, we have an intern government team. And like, do you have like an open API you can integrate with?
Yes, our API is publicly available. Anyone can access it. So you just go to developer.pesapal.com, and all our documentation is there. So your development team can take a look. We have a sandbox that allows you to play around, see how it works before you take it to production. So yes, it is open. You don't have to, even if you're not a client, you can still access it.
Thank you for that question.
When you have an account with Pesapal, you can transact directly to another Pesapal account holder. For example, I'm doing all the time. I'm doing hotel. I have to have more money to be able to pay a hotel rather than to depend
say yes because we already have such a product. It is running in the Kenyan market. So we've been piloting it. It's about it's over a year. It's called OpenFloat, and it allows businesses to do exactly what you've done. So customers made a payment to you, and you need to specify a further payment or without paying for car hire. It will allow you to pick your Pesapal balance and automatically send it to another merchant. So far, it's working well. So we're now, since we're now under your license, so we have to undergo certain steps to ensure that we're up to the standard that is required for we can launch it. But yes, we do have a product. Just keep your news below.
Thank you for that. The final question, I think.
My name is Daniel. I'm the reservations manager and executive hotel. Our branding team had a question about you branding, about if we can brand the link to with our logo. That's one. And then secondly, we still had a bit of issues with a few transactions that are successful, but they do not match directly into our channel manager system. So how best can we actually fix that?
So that, in terms of the branding, I would say it's just a matter of discussing with our tech team on how we would like it to be presented. We do offer customization for your links. So that is something quite easy, I would say. Okay. And for the payments not synchronizing, it's probably something you have to check there specifically for yourself.
For the reservations that come through direct our website, the payments are synchronized directly into the system. But for the payments that are done outside, for reservations that are not made from the website, payments do not go direct to the system. That's my question.
I think it's something we can look at once we're after.
Okay. Thank you, Penny.
Direct into the system.
Thank you for the insights. I'm sure we have learned a lot, and we are so pleased that you took your time to be here with us. And at this point, I would like to invite our country director, Mr. Martin Barunji, and Ms. Emirano to just appreciate our panelists. Ms. Carol, please join the panelists. Let's have a few pictures together. Okay, we have Ms. Carol. Mr. Bradford Ching, we appreciate your time and your support of Pesapal. Ms. Jean Bianco-Fisher, thank you for supporting Pesapal in our different partnerships. Then Mr. Sven St. Calvert, thank you for your long-term support with Pesapal. And Mr. And then we have Mr. James Pesapal, who is one of our oldest clients. I think they've been with Pesapal since we started in Uganda. Thank you, James, for your support all the many years that you have been with us.
Carol from Kampala, Serena. Thank you, Carol, for everything. Thank you, dear panelists. You can also take your seats back at the table. And for our dear guests, please, we also have something special for each 100 something from Pesapal to you, to appreciate you for being here and for supporting us.
Felista Njoroge to take us through the nitty-gritties of Oracle.
Discussion is that the bar has been set really high. But on the plus side, most of the things that the panel is discussing forms the basis for what we're going to be looking at over the next few minutes. So we can begin. My name is Felista Njoroge, and I lead the Oracle Hospitality team here at Pesapal. And over the next few minutes, we're going to be taking a look at how technology has been continually reshaping the world of travel and hospitality. And to do this, I'll take us on a very short trip down history lane. Did you know that less than 50 years ago, the only way to make a reservation at a hotel was either by telephone, telegram, or sending a mail? And I mean snail mail, not an email. It wasn't until 1947 that the very first reservation system made its way globally. And since then, it's taken very many decades for reservation systems to become what they are today. Did you also know that before the 1950s, having a television screen in a hotel room was considered utmost luxury? And it was only reserved for deluxe rooms and only the guests with the finest tastes. Telephones, those that you actually find by your bedside table, didn't even make it to hotel rooms until the 60s. So where am I going with this? Most of the commonplace amenities that we find in hotel rooms today, things that we almost take for granted, air conditioning, Wi-Fi, television screens, room service, automated electronic keys, all developed over time as a response to market needs that challenged the status quo. From the very beginning, problem solving has always lied at the heart of innovative technology. Here at Pesapal, our problem-solving journey into hospitality was full of insights. From the beginning, we decided to go about things a little differently. We went to our clients and we listened. We sat down and paid attention to all the various pain points that the business owners would encounter in their day-to-day operations. And one of the biggest hurdles our clients faced had to do with payments reconciliation. Caroline, who sits at the accounts department here at Serena, actually mentioned this when she was up here a few minutes ago sharing her speech. Every single day, whether it's a 5-star hotel or a quick service restaurant, you'd find accountants would need to match system-generated reports, whether it was from the property management system, point-of-sale system, whatever sales system that they were using, and had to actually ensure that whatever the sales reports generated matched what they actually received in the bank. And every day they would receive bank statements from the different bank providers that they engaged with, or even mobile money providers if they were receiving mobile money. And this will become compounded if the business has multiple locations or branches, because it essentially means the tedious work of reconciliation just became that much more harder for business owners and the finance team. Then the conversations with these business owners would continue to explain why reconciliation was so critical for the businesses. This is where we learned that managing fraud and keeping costs as low as possible was a constant concern for businesses. How do you verify, for example, that the number of lattes sold in your restaurant in a day matches what the kitchen dispensed? Does what you have in your inventory actually tally up with whatever your sales reports generate at the end of the day? Do you have any gaps? Do you have any loops that you actually need to have a look at? And that is how the whole integration conversation around payments began. So now we had an idea of what the problem was, or at least one of the major problems, and we also had an idea of how to fix it. The only thing now we needed to do was identify which of the hundreds, if not thousands, of hospitality management systems out there in the market would be the very first to deploy our solutions to. Enter Oracle. Our approach was very simple. If we can integrate to the largest and most well-known hospitality software solution provider in the world, then all other systems would be a walk in the park. I mean, Oracle has been doing this since the 1970s. Those are very many decades of being in the hospitality industry, providing various solutions for all manner of properties, from large five-star hotels to bed and breakfasts. The entire integration process was quite rigorous and evolving. We had to go through numerous vetting procedures that Oracle gave us, and for good reason. Our workflows were constantly analyzed and scrutinized to ensure that we adhere to all of Oracle's strict safety and security standards. This process lasted well over a year, but finally, all of the effort put in was worth it. When we completed the integration process and became the first East African payment service provider to have validated integrations into Oracle hospitality software for both their cloud and server-based applications. In simple terms, this basically meant that we could provide payments integrations between all of Pesapal's products and Oracle hospitality products. This opened an entirely new world of possibilities for both our clients, partners, as well as hospitality division. Not only could we provide integrated payment solutions alongside our core payment services, we could now implement, install, train, and support Oracle hospitality products. From cloud-based applications such as Opera Cloud and Symphony Cloud, to server-based applications such as Opera version 5, Symphony version 2, materials control for managing the inventory in stock, and Infosun financials, we could now provide them all. We morphed from being a payment service provider with innovative solutions for all of our different sectors to having a fully fledged Oracle software department where we could deploy and implement software solutions that will go hand in hand with our core services. We have in-house solution architects who specialize in Oracle products and have vast experience in the industries. These teams have been doing this for decades. They work hand in hand with our highly skilled development teams and bring unmatched value and solution delivery to our clients, such as yourselves. We have some of the most innovative solutions for travel agents, hotels, restaurants, and bars that our market has not previously seen. And we're continually investing in driving disruptive technology for all the different sectors that we operate in. So take hospitality, for instance. COVID-19 accelerated the adaptation of contactless services. Our panel even mentioned this during the discussion earlier. We have designed a range of online solutions for both hotels and restaurants that provides a platform for them to provide their guests with contactless solutions. Rewards and loyalty. Personal experiences are more sought after today than ever before. So how are you engaging with your guests pre, during, and post their travel or stay with you? How are you creating a curated and unique experience for each of your guests at every touch point with your business. This is one of the other questions that we're looking at resolving when we were deploying some of our solutions, such as gift vouchers, loyalty, and a number of others that our teams have actually on display at the demo labs outside. In conclusion, here at Pesapal, we have made our biggest advances from engaging and listening to our clients. Prioritizing problem solving and designing future-proof technology has always been at the background of all of the decisions that we make as far as technology is concerned. We currently have the experiential labs running outside, as already mentioned previously, and I invite you all to take a few moments to have a walk through the various labs and engage with the teams seated outside. You'll be amazed at what they have in store for you, and who knows, today could be the day that your business takes the next big step towards becoming future-proof. And that's about it. Thank you so much for your time.
Wow, thank you so much, Felista.
Good afternoon. People can hear me. Very excited about this event, which has been planned for a while, and grateful that you could join us today. My duty today is very simple. My name is Martin Barungi. I'm a director here at Pesapal, Uganda, and I've been with the business for 10 years now. 2012 is when we started in Uganda, and this year we celebrate our 10th year as a payment service provider in this market. So, thank you. In my closing remarks, I will speak briefly about the evolution of payments, which is our space. I'll touch a bit on Pesapal to build on what has been shared already, and then I'll conclude with a few comments. So, the payment stack, which is, the components, solutions, and systems that define how value is stored and how it is moved from one entity to another, whether it's business to business or person to person, has evolved over the years. In the 19th, up to the 19th century, it was really a physical kind of substrate where you had barter trade, you had commodities like gold, silver, you had salt as well. In fact, during the Roman times, Roman soldiers were paid using a commodity called salt, and actually that's where the word salary comes from. Then the next level was coinage, where now people are exchanging coins, and this is where Judas comes in with 30 silver coins. That's how he received his payment, all the way to mid-20th century, where we have paper. That's where paper took over as a medium of exchange. And in that time, over a period of about 10,000 years, the store of value and the movement of money moved from barter trade, and as I say, to paper. But between then and when digitization came in, it was only 60 years. So you can imagine the evolution, the change that has happened in that period. So in the 20th century, we see the payment stack moving from paper, which is cards, checks in the 50s, ATMs in the 80s. We have the EMV standard, which enabled consumer banking in the late 90s. And then you come to the 21st century. Now, 21st century, obviously, this is where we are. The beginning of the century was a time of rapid adoption of digitized payment models. And the word that's being coined now to describe the pay stack is datafication. Basically using data to transform the payment experience. And the goal is a seamless mobile lifestyle. Kind of similar to what some of the panelists have been talking about. A client wants to pay, they don't have to go to their, the post office as it was then, or even email. They can only do it, they can always do it on their phone and be able to search and pay. Search, decide to buy, make a decision to buy, and pay. So we're seeing things like e-money, virtual cards, and even crypto. This payment stack in the 21st century is being driven by big data, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and we see the blockchain coming as well. So that's really the datafication process that is happening. So we see a rapid transformation of the payment stack, and where does that put us as a fintech business? Essentially, if you look at, again, I'll take you back to the first decade of the 21st century where there was internet-enabled innovations in almost every industry. Many of the leading companies today, or organizations, actually took off during that period because of the convergence of different technologies, but especially the internet. So you have companies like Airbnb in 2008, which I'm sure people in this room know. The iPhone was in 2007. You have Bitcoin, or blockchain in 2009. WhatsApp that we use in 2009. So around that time, there was quite a bit of explosion in terms of tech-based companies that were leveraging information technologies. Now, you might as well remember the 2008 global financial crisis that shook up the entire world, and we haven't seen anything similar. Of course, COVID was something, but in the financial industry, the GFC in 2008 was an earthquake, a global earthquake. And it's at that time that many fintechs started to take off, largely because there was a gap between where the incumbents were, or the providers at that time, which were the banks, and customer expectations. I'm glad to say that Pesapal, as you might have seen, also was born around about that time in Nairobi, Kenya, 2009. And now we're a leading payment services provider, operating in more than 5 countries, with more than 250 employees, serving thousands of happy customers. Some of you I can see here. And we're licensed in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and by the end of the year, we should be licensed in Rwanda as well. In Uganda, Pesapal started in 2012, and we entered the market through the travel industry, 2 operators. That was the low-hanging fruit because, again, as I said, there was a gap between customer expectations and what the incumbents or the banks were able to offer at the time. So we enabled our clients to accept payments online, and we grew. We went into hotels, later with e-com. Come 2019, as you'll have seen, we added in-person payment capabilities through the POS machine, and entered restaurants and retail, and we continue to expand. But throughout this time, again, I call upon you to, visit our labs there and see some of these solutions live. So there's a whole range of, there's a whole portfolio of solutions that we're offering. But all through this time, the focus has been customers. The cornerstone of our business has been customers. And over the years, the fundamental question has been, what does the customer want? What are the current trends, and how can we add value to the customer? So simplified payment process through digitization, which is e-com, aggregated solutions. Again, someone mentioned here where you have to have MTN mobile money here, you have Visa here, you have MasterCard there. With Pesapal, we were able to provide an aggregated solution. So with one provider, you're able to access all these payment solutions. And of course, we've added Apple Pay, Google Pay, and we'll continue adding others as time goes on. So these are the things that we're building, these are the solutions we're building to respond to the question, what do customers want? They want digitized payments, they want simplified payment process, they want reconciliation like our friend from Serena was telling us, and everything else that we decipher from the customer, we go back, build a solution, and bring it to the market. Of course, as I said, on top of those solutions, there are value-added services like reporting, notifications, support, and I will tell you that anything else that you need as customers, and we get that feedback and we quantify it, we'll go back to our labs, develop a solution, and provide you the service so that we remain relevant to you as businesses. Now, in addition to customers and the solutions that we provide them, another cornerstone of our business obviously has been our talent. We have some of the best people in the industry solving customers' problems 24/7, as some of the speakers have mentioned. A lot of these solutions are in-house, they are homegrown, and that's where we're able to quickly respond to the changing expectations of the customers, because we have a very, very talented, dedicated, and hardworking team. So in line with today's theme, Adapt and Thrive, two things are happening in the marketplace. Changing technology is impacting customer expectations, and you know that most of the trends in the travel and hospitality industry are driven by technology, ranging from voice search to robotics to virtual reality, recognition technology. Someone was talking about seeing a picture of a swimming pool. The future is virtual reality. You touch a button and see the real thing. And beyond that, it's now going to streaming. So a customer starts to experience your services even before they leave their home country. So because of this, there are shifts in customer expectations that are causing changes in the way they behave. Customers want a new and better experience from service providers, or they will take their business elsewhere. Charles Darwin, who coined the theory of natural selection, he says, organisms thrive through small inherited variations that increase their ability to compete, to survive, and to replicate, the so-called survival of the fittest. And he concludes by saying that it's not the strongest species that survive, nor the most intelligent. It is the ones that are most adaptable to change. And as I said, there's been a lot of changes, rapid changes. How adaptable are you to these changes? How adaptable are we to these changes? Our pledge as Pesapal is to enable your business to adapt and to thrive when it comes to payments and the payments experience. I'll conclude by expressing my gratitude to all our guests who have taken time to join us today, to exchange, to interact, and to share ideas. Special thanks to our panelists, obviously, for your contribution. I'd like to thank our customers who have kept us in business the last 13 years. We thank you, and we look forward to many more years and decades of serving you with passion and dedication. Many thanks to the Pesapal staff for your hard work and diligence. Not to steal the storm away from my colleague who's coming next, I just want to thank the event organizers for a wonderful job. and thank God, of course, because He makes all things possible. Thank you for listening to me. Have a good afternoon.
Wow, deserves another big round of applause. Right, you can catch the conversation online via Twitter. The hashtag is Pesapal Caffè and hashtag Adapt and Thrive. So we shall have a short interlude on some of the good things that we have to offer.
Tell me what you read.
You're good. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to you all. As my colleague Alpha has mentioned, my name is Maureen Jeroge Namoma. I'm heading Travel and Hospitality in Pesapal, Uganda Limited. So this event has been very, very dear to me because it touches my sector. It's bringing you all together and seeing your faces, putting the faces to the names, to the transactions. It's very important. It fulfills my heart. I'd like to thank Almighty God for this day and how successful it has turned out. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for gracing and honoring our event. We can't imagine how it would have been with an empty hall. It would have been a great, great disaster. So we really appreciate you honoring our invites. All protocols observed. I'd like to thank our panelists, Mr. Sven Saint, General Manager, Latitude Hotel, James Kasavubi, Head of Sales and Marketing, Imperial Group of Hotels, Jean Biamugisha, Executive Director, Uganda Hotel Association, Bradford Ocheng, Deputy CEO, UTB, Isao Otika, our Technical Director at Pesapal, Uganda, our speakers for the day, our hotel host, Kampala Serena, Caroline, thank you. Our country director, Mr. Martin, we really appreciate you. Our Madam Country Manager, Madam Amy, thank you. Head of sectors, we appreciate you putting time to have this event. And what will you have done without the team? Pesapal team, a big thank you. To Kampala Serena, a special thank you for hosting us and making the event planning experience as memorable as possible. Eve and Ben did a fantastic job. We'll call them like 10 times in a day. We appreciate it. To our media houses, thank you. We hope to create deeper relationships, and we're looking forward to seeing our stories and pictures in the media today and moving forward. To all Pesapal staff, our country director, manager, once again, we appreciate the efforts. You guys rock, and I will not trade to be in another team than Pesapal team. Once again, a hearty thank you to you all. We'll say, Mwe Balenyo. Hope I said it right. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Still going online, Twitter. The hashtag is Pesapal Caffè. Hashtag Adapt and Thrive. One interlude.